it was originally done, quite a while ago under Cheshire Gilgach, and then it was picked up again a few years ago. And more recently, it's sort of become not particularly under any one particular group, but more like the little Cooish committee. We're kind of a representative of all of the different groups on there, and it's sort of like a joint effort really to put on a festival, which is great because it means that the people from Pobble are there, the people from Cheshire Gilgach are there, and Ruth, the new Manx language officer, she'll be there. So it's great, it's got all of the different the strands of all the different groups there, and kids from the Bunscoil will be there. So yeah, brilliant.
Remind us what Cooish actually is. 'Cause remember, Cruinniuc is gathering, isn't it? In Cruinniuc is the gathering.
Yeah, so a Cooish sort of means that it's got a lot of meanings really, but in this instance, it's sort of meaning like a chat, a talk, I
was thinking natural chat or something like that. Yeah,
or like it can mean like a topic or like a. I don't know, sometimes it's hard to put an exact English word on it. But yeah, in this sense, it's a getting together to have a chat, to have a Cooish together, yeah.
And that's essentially what's going to be happening all this weekend. So give us a flavour of some of the events that are actually going on then.
It's really varied actually. So we've got a couple of pop-up Gaeltachts, which is basically just us all meeting in cafes around the island. So there's one in Ramsey and one in Douglas, and it's just a chance for anyone who wants to come along, whether they're a beginner and they just want to have their first attempts at, speaking Manx out in the wild outside of the classroom, so to speak, or, for fluent speakers who just want to get out and have a chat. There's a guided walk around Ramsey in Manx, which, you'll get a lot out of it if you're a fluent speaker, but even if you're not, you just enjoy the walk and maybe catch the odd word. There's a bingo night, which sounds really intimidating because you think, I'm never going to know all of those numbers, but there will be people there to help. It's family friendly. The emphasis is on fun. And
I was going to say, it does sound great fun, that actually, yeah.
Manx bingo.
Yeah, yes. That's. I'm really looking forward to that. It's in the Corran Hall, and there'll be some soft drinks and crisps and things to purchase, but it's BYOB, so yeah,
making it even more fun.
Yay! Yeah. And then there's other more specific specialist things. So mini musicians are going to be running Manx song and music session in Manx at the House of Manannan for anyone, like the sort of mums and tots groups that you get doing singing and rhymes and things, but just through Manx. And Laura, who does that, she's brilliant with children. So I went to the one that she did a couple of years ago, and it was fantastic. And it was great because we had, just people with their kids who aren't really involved in the Manx language, just coming along and giving it a go and enjoying it. So yeah.
And it's something we were talking to Ruth about recently, wasn't it, when we went to speak to her just after she was appointed the new officer for Manx language, and also about Hopchinay. And we were saying how music, obviously Ruth being a musician herself, it's a brilliant way to connect to the language, isn't it? It's a really good way of learning in some respects.
Definitely. Yeah. In fact, it's quite funny. You'll find a lot of people who have been singing the odd Manx song, or you're sort of on the Manx cultural scene for a while, and they'll know a few songs and they'll know a few lines from a few songs. And then they start learning Manx and they go, oh, that's what that means. That's what I've been singing. And they have these little epiphany moments where they're like, oh, I get it now. So, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And I think you're right. It makes a big difference that you were mentioning there, the idea if you're in a classroom, so you're learning Manx in a group and, in a classroom or wherever it might be, out of Greens or something. It's one thing talking with other people there. It's that other thing, isn't it? Sort of going out, taking yourself out of your comfort zone and, going out into the wild, as it were, and trying out whatever level you're at, your language out there. Because it's just that jump and that sort of confidence thing of trying to... It's right that you're saying again, you lose your inhibitions. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to say things incorrectly, forget words, use the wrong words. But you just sort of get over that. And when you're with a supportive group of people, that's the place to do it.
Definitely. I mean, there are conversational groups that go on every week around the island, but you tend to find that they're the same people that go to them, so they all know one another. So sometimes it can be a little bit, although they'd be totally welcome if anybody new wanted to come, it can be a bit intimidating, going along for the first time and thinking, oh, when do I pipe up and break out my newly learnt Manx? And then you end up just sitting there sometimes just listening and then feeling like you just go, oh, he moo, and then leave kind of thing. Oh, kicking yourself. But that's why things like the Cooish are great, because they're designed to be everybody come along, everybody have a go. Don't worry about not knowing everything. And at the big event that we're having on Saturday, where we're going to be talking more about the big scavenger hunt we're doing, there'll be people there to help. So if you don't know what those things are on the list in Manx, there'll be some Manx dictionaries, there'll be kids from the Bun School there to help. They'll be able to translate the odd word and give you some clues. It's all about helping and encouraging.